Why housing crisis feels so much worse right now feels bigger now because people are experiencing the pressure of it in everyday life. By the end, you will see why housing crisis feels so much worse right now feels heavier right now and where that pressure is really coming from. It looks like one headline or one trend, but the deeper story is a slow pressure that has been building for a while. It's not just inflation, and it's not just your salary. Today, we're breaking down the hidden mechanics making you a permanent renter. By the end of this video, you'll see why your cozy space is part of a global financial chess game. Most people think the problem is just high demand. That's the lazy explanation. The real story is about who decided that houses are no longer places to live. Instead, they've become a new kind of safe gold for the world's richest investors. When a billionaire buys a block of houses, you're not just losing a home. You're losing leverage. For decades, the deal was simple: work hard, save up, and buy your way into the middle class. But after 2008, that ladder was pulled up, and it hasn't been lowered back down. Suddenly, big banks realized that people will always need a roof, no matter how much it costs. They started buying thousands of single-family homes, turning the American dream into a subscription. This is why your renter-friendly makeover feels so urgent. It's the only control you have left. You're decorating a space that will never be yours, because the owners don't want you to leave. They want you to stay just long enough to pay off their mortgage, but never long enough to build your own. But there's a second, even more invisible force at play here: the supply chokehold. In many cities, it's literally illegal to build the kind of housing we actually need. Zoning laws from the 1970s are still dictating where you're allowed to sleep today. We're stuck in a missing middle. No small cottages, no townhomes. Just luxury towers or nothing. This scarcity isn't an accident. It's a policy choice that benefits current homeowners. If more houses are built, the value of their house might stop growing. So they block it. It's a generational wealth transfer from the young to the old, disguised as neighborhood character. Single quote. This is the real tension. It's not just you versus the landlord. It's you versus a system built to exclude you. But wait, if it's so bad, why aren't people moving? Why are we all staying and making it work? Because the jobs moved to the cities, and the houses didn't follow. But the real story is not the headline. It is the cost, fatigue, and pressure people can actually feel. Think about the milestones: marriage, kids, saving for retirement. All of them are being delayed by 5, 10, 15 years. Just to pay for a bedroom makeover. Let's look at the numbers. In 1960, the average house cost about 2 years of income. Today, in many cities, it's closer to 10 or even 12 years of total gross income. That is a fundamental break in the social contract. We were told that if we worked, we would progress. Instead, we are just maintaining. And here is the twist. High interest rates were supposed to fix this. They didn't. Why? Because people who already have low rates can't afford to sell. They're trapped too. The market is frozen. No one is moving, which means there's nothing for you to buy. We have reached a state of permanent temporariness. Single quote. We live in apartments for decades but decorate them like we're leaving next month. We use command strips because we're afraid of losing a security deposit we'll never get back anyway. This creates a deep psychological toll, a lack of belonging in our own communities. If you don't own where you live, you're less likely to care about where you are. The housing crisis isn't just about money. It's about the death of the neighborhood. But there is a group that benefits from this chaos: the prop tech companies. Algorithms are now helping landlords coordinate rent increases across entire zip codes. It's not a free market if the sellers are all using the same software to set the price. So, what happens next? Does the bubble burst, or is this just the new reality? History says that when people can't afford to live, they stop playing the game. We're seeing a quiet quitting of the traditional life path. But that doesn't solve the core issue. It just moves the pressure elsewhere. The hard takeaway is this: housing is no longer a tool for families. It's a tool for finance. And unless the rules of the game change, the renter-friendly life is all that's left. We are decorating the waiting room of our lives, waiting for a market that doesn't care if we survive. The question is, What happens when even the waiting room becomes too expensive? Is it time to demand a new contract, or are we just going to buy more peel and stick wallpaper? The pressure is building, and eventually, something has to give. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and maybe, don't get too attached to that wallpaper. Because the roof over your head isn't just shelter anymore. It's an asset, and you're not the one owning it. What matters now is how much more visible why housing crisis feels so much worse right now becomes in daily life from here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.